what a recruiter sees when your CV lands in front of them, and why most CVs do not make it past the first 10 seconds. Also, you might want to stick around till the very end because I have a surprise for you. Hi there, I am Momo, and over the past decade, I have recruited globally for both tech startups in their hypergrowth phase and for more established, larger industrial organizations. Shift your thinking from believing that you need to include everything in your CV/resume. Rather, you need to include what is truly relevant for that position. Now, you may have noticed that I use CV and resume interchangeably. That's just me, but they actually have a difference. And it all matters geographically. There are certain regions where they use the term resume, and resume more or less means a quick, shorter summary of what you've done within your career. It's usually around a page, whereas a CV is a little bit more extensive than a resume, and it's around 1 to 2 pages. But I just use them interchangeably. The CV is not about listing every single thing that you have done. Like I've said, it's about listing what is relevant. And when it comes to the length of the document, if you have less than 4 years of experience, 1 page is more than enough. I know it can be a bit tough fitting everything into 1 page, but just fit it into 1 page. And then if you have more years of experience, then it should be at least a page or 2. Is tailoring your CV optional? No. One generic CV that you send for all the jobs that you're applying for, weak results. A slightly tailored CV that you would send out to the jobs you're applying for, better results. But a strategically tailored CV that you send out each time that you're applying to a job, amazing results. For example, you come across a job description that says, "We're looking for a marketing executive with experience in social media management, content creation, and campaign reporting." A weak CV bullet point would put it as handled social media and marketing tasks. That's quite generic. However, a much stronger strategically tailored CV bullet point would say, "I've managed social media channels across Instagram and LinkedIn, created weekly content, and delivered monthly campaign performance reports." So tailoring means that you mirror certain keywords or sometimes phrases that are in the job description to match what you have in your CV. So I want to make this clear. It is not about copy pasting the entire job description onto your CV, hoping that you're going to get selected for an interview. No, it means reading that particular job description, noting what exactly are the key points that they have listed as their requirements, and then seeing how you can mirror that onto your CV to show that you have that experience, but in your own words. I will give you an example of a really bad tailoring process. A couple of years ago, I was recruiting for a digital product director. And it was quite a tough role because it required someone who had experience in the exact industry that I was working in at the time. So we knew it was going to be a challenge. We were ready to be a bit more flexible when it came to experience, but there were certain things in the job description that we knew we would not get in the market, but we were hoping that we would. So one day, as I was looking through profiles of people who had applied, I came across a very interesting CV. Now, when I read it, it almost felt very, very familiar. I was like, have I seen this CV before? Have I interviewed this person previously? But then it dawned on me that the reason why that CV felt so familiar is because it was a copy paste of the job description. I'm going to tell you a little secret. A lot of times those job descriptions, we kind of know that we will not find someone who matches the exact fit. A lot of times job descriptions are like wish lists. I'm sorry, but they are like wish lists. We wish someone had all of these experiences. So you copying the entire job description, is we figured out that you're lying. So once I saw that, unfortunately, we could not proceed with that person. I'm the one who created that job description along with my hiring manager. We know that you don't have that experience. And also looking at that person's past experience, it was night and day. There was no way that he came from that particular industry that he was in and then automatically matched the description that we had shared. So this is just to say, if you are mirroring a job description, make sure that you're just mirroring some of the keywords and phrases in your own words and you're not copy pasting it directly onto your CV. A trick that I can give you, and one that I've also used as well in the past, whenever I'm looking at a job description, I look at the first 3 points in the job description and then I look at my CV. A lot of times we of course are applying to jobs that we know, we are confident that we can do, we have experience in. So what I want you to do is, you see those first 3 points that they have, mirror those first 3 points to be your first 3 points in your CV. So if they're looking for someone who has customer-facing experience, make sure your first point is that customer-facing experience being highlighted. If the next one is that they have managed a team or they have worked closely with a team, you show how you have collaborated or managed or supervised a team. So you look at the job description and you mirror that onto your CV. Use that and tell me how that goes. I'm going to go out on a limb and say this. I love this part of every CV discussion. I love it, I love it, I love it, I love it. I love talking about outcomes. I love talking about impact. I love talking about what exactly were the results that you had when you were doing that particular job. And I absolutely love it when you have it in your CV. That differentiates you from a whole lot of people. Now, how does talking impact or talking results or talking outcome really looks like? Let me give you a couple of examples. Here are a couple of examples that show what it looks like when you list down duties on your CV, as opposed to what it looks like to show what you did and the result of your actions. Keep this formula in mind when you are listing down your impact: the action, what you did, and the result. So if you are in sales, you are in whatever it is, always try to add those metrics. Show the result, show the number, show the improvement, show the outcome, show the profit. Whatever it is that you can do where you can add a number, add that number. Recruiters have literal seconds to go through your CV. That means that they have no time to start guessing, digging, searching, trying to fit a puzzle, trying to send out a search party to understand what exactly you do. Within those few seconds, what you do, what level you are at, what your key strengths are, should be very clear. So that means that within that first page that we're looking at, it needs to be clear what exactly you do. You have your name at the top, you have a professional summary that is around 3 to 4 sentences only. Don't write a whole paragraph now. You'll probably have a few of your key skills, and then there will be your most recent job right there at the top. And so we are looking at a few key details immediately. We're quickly scanning to see what is your current role? What were your previous job titles? Do they match with what exactly we're looking for? Or is it, if they don't match and you have transitioned into this new role, does that new role, the current role that you have, match with what we're looking for? It is literally, we are doing this within a couple of seconds. Just bam, 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 thank you, ma'am, goodbye. You know, either it's goodbye or it's a hello. So that means that that first page that you have created needs to be a hit immediately. A clear CV, a clear and clean CV wins every single time. So that means that you have a good structure. You have your experience clearly written out, your skills clearly written out, your education, your did I say experience? Experience, skills. We can clearly see when we look at your CV that this section is talking about this section is talking about that. It does not matter if you have skills at the top, education at the bottom, or education at the top and skills at the bottom. When I look at it, do I clearly read what is going on? That is it. It has a clear structure and a format. It has a clear professional font. Don't be out there doing the calligraphy, Comic Sans type of font, unless you're a creative or I don't know, whoever uses that font on a resume would know why. But you have a clear font, you have clear spacing, it is structured, it is systematic, that is all. It is easy on the eyes. If you have your name on the right side and then we know that the structure is here and it is clearly structured, it's okay. The minute I lay my eyes on it, I should know immediately what I am looking at. Now there is the fancy type of CVs that have come up, with the tables and the lines and the graphs and while there may not be an issue with that, I just want you to be careful when you're using those fancy templates. There are times, and this happens if I have, let's say, 200 CVs to look at in my system, I would notice around 5 or 6 are like this. There are times when you upload that CV with the tables and the graphs and the lines and when you've uploaded it, the words cannot be seen. It literally only uploads the tables. And the unfortunate thing is that when we're looking through your CVs, we can't just stop and give you a call and say, hey, your CV isn't clear, can you re-upload it? Especially when we have hundreds of CVs already, we'll probably just throw that in the rejection file. And then you're wondering, why was I rejected? It's because the tables and the lines and the graphs and the this and the that did you dirty. They did you dirty, right? There is something wrong with some of those fancy templates. I would steer clear from those ones altogether. Just simple is the way. No one is going to penalize you for being simple, but there is a chance of you being penalized for uploading something with the lines and the graphs and before you know it, nothing has uploaded. So don't do that. And I also want to touch on the ATS since I already touched on it right now. It is communicated and shared as this big monster that you need to be afraid of. And I want to tell you that that's not how the ATS works. I always see when people talk about the ATS like it's this big old monster. And I'm always like, what kind of ATS your people are using? Because they are not that smart. Literally, if you are on the other side of recruitment and you have used ATSs, and I'm talking as someone who's used various ATSs. I worked in a recruitment organization that built its own ATS from scratch, and it is doing quite well in the US at the moment. I have implemented Greenhouse, HireView, basically Success Factors. I worked on, what was it called? I've forgotten the much smaller, applicant tracking system, a number of them, around 5 or 6. And I'm telling you, they're not that smart. They're not just rejecting CVs. There is no good recruiter out there who would risk a good candidate slipping through the cracks because they let the ATS make decisions for them. Always send your CV as a PDF. Just send it as a PDF, because even with Word documents, you never know what type of, Word, Microsoft version that they have, that the recruiter has. Sometimes words shift, things change. Just send it as a PDF. It's much easier for you, much easier on the other person. And then in my previous video, I mentioned saving it with a proper name. Don't be out there using 55 gazillion names. Resume updated, CV version 2.5, resume 504, aka cha. Your name, resume. Your name, CV. That is it. So some of the common mistakes that are killing your CV, they're too long. I once had a CV that was 25 pages long. You don't need 25 pages. They should be at least 2 pages long. There are no metrics or results shown anywhere. They have a general summary that says absolutely nothing. It has poor formatting or inconsistent fonts. Irrelevant experience that is taking up a lot of valuable space. Photos in markets where it is not expected. I definitely talked about this in the past, about having photos in your CV. I highly discourage you from doing that. And the reason why is because you are opening yourself up to bias that you do not need at all. You do not know who is reading your CV. We have to be really honest here. You don't know who's on the other end of viewing your CV. You do not know what prejudices that they may have. And at the end of the day, you don't want to work with people who have prejudices, but you just want to reduce that. I would not put my CV, a photo on my CV if it is not an important requirement. And in my career, I don't see why that would be a requirement. In certain careers, customer facing, and also it depends on the region that you are in, they would probably ask you for a photo, but unless you've been specifically asked for one, they've specifically said include your CV, I wouldn't do it. So having your CV can trigger unconscious bias and is not a standard in most corporate markets. Also, listing soft skills as a section. They belong inside your bullet points as demonstrated evidence, not as a standalone list. Every market or industry has its own rhythm and flow when it comes to the type of resume/CV that they use. So once you understand that, then you'll be better prepared to send in a resume or a CV that fits the market or the industry that you are in. So if you are struggling with getting your CV viewed at the least, it could be that you are failing in communicating the value that you're able to bring to that particular position. So why don't you apply some of the things that I've talked about here and then see how that goes? Remember to structure it, to tailor it strategically for the job, to communicate the value that you can bring into that organization. So try it and let me know how it goes. Before you go, I have a little surprise for you. I am giving 3 of my viewers a chance to get their CV reviewed by me. Here is how to get it. You need to be subscribed to this channel. If you are watching this, you clearly found your way here, so go ahead and hit that button right now. Then leave a comment below telling me what industry you are in and what type of role you are looking for. The first 3 people who do that get selected. And so once I pick you, I will then let you know and you can send me your CV and I can share with you a detailed summary of what you need to work on, what is going great, what you need to improve, and all of that good stuff.